Good morning and welcome to today's class. My name is Muidin Alalikanwe. Like I said earlier, um, the founder of Nakelgreen Incorporated. I've got over 10 years experience when it comes to programming and when it comes to teaching, not only web development, data analytics, cybersecurity, and I've got tons of projects that we've executed to help SMEs, basically, not only they're cut across all sectors, basically. So that is what I've been doing for a while now. And I'm also very happy when I teach and I see my students excel well, especially when it comes to creating solutions to their environment and the community. So having said that, I'm introducing you to this class called Python, and we're going to learn everything about Python, and you're not just learning it. We are also going to see how we can apply it to ourselves, right? To our day-to-day activities, and to see how we can also apply it to creating a better change in the environment. So having said that, I think it's important for us to also have a very wide knowledge as regards Python. And what do I mean the wide knowledge? Having some theoretical knowledge of it even before we start coding, right? And why do you really want to learn Python? So what is Python generally, right? Python itself is a high-level general purpose programming language. Please note this, high level. I'm sure you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? High level.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it small? Should I make it bigger? General purpose programming
That's okay.
language. So let me see if I can make it bigger. So maybe to be bigger a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's first thing you should know about it. It's a high level general purpose programming language, right? And it was created by, I know you might be interested in this. Me, I'm not interested. I don't really know, but it's just for you might be interested in knowing it because it might be asked. They might ask you. So what do I mean? It was created by this guy in 1989 called Guido, created by this guy called Guido van Rossum. Guido van Rossum, right? In 1989. Like I said, in 1989. Very important. Created by that guy in 1989. So the question is not going to be why Python? Why Python? Why do you really need to learn Python? One, it was designed for people like us, for people like you, like someone like me that have really learned programming for a very long time. I never started with Python. I started with C++, Java, JavaScript, uh, HTML, PHP, all those ones. For us that has gone through all those levels of programming language, seeing Python today really makes us happy because one, Python is easy to read compared to all other programming language. Please write all these things down. Easy to read, not all this. Python is really easy to read compared to all other programming language. It is also easy to write. I'm trying to prepare that soft landing for you. It's easy to read. It's also easy to write, right? Another thing also about it, which I think is also very important, is it is also easy to learn. Don't worry, all these things, I'm going to show you how it is being done, right? it, how it is being done. Another thing why Python is also very important is Python is also an open source. Python is an open source. So what do I mean by open source? I don't want to ask you any question for now. Just listen very well. What do I mean by open source? An open source app, so if they call something open source, it means it is free to download. So it is free to download and it is open to all other contributors. So for example, we can create an app called Adeleke Miriam's app, right? And once the Adeleke Miriam's app is an open source, when we call it open source, it means people can easily find it on the internet and download it for free. That's one. Two is you don't own the right to that particular app any longer. What do I mean, right? I mean, you owns it, right? You prepared it, you created it, but you've given it to other people to also improve on the app. For example, if your app is just to you just write a simple calculator, which is what we are going to do, right? You just write a simple calculator that does just addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Just that. That is all you've done. And you now put it out called Adeleke Miriam's calculator. You make it open source, right? It means people can download that app for free and people can also contribute to that app. So which means the source code is also out there for people to see. So people can download the source code, contribute, write more code to it, and also put it there again. Another person will download it and use it, right? And of course, other people can also download and also contribute. So someone like me, I can just see that app and say, oh, it's an open source. Oh, I can work on this app now. Because it's helping people to do normal day-to-day calculations, I can add on to it and put the modulus, put the division, put some scientific calculations to it, trying to get some trigonometric calculation, talking about the sine, cosine, tangent, all those things. I want to add it to it. I want to get square. Your own is just to do division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Then I will now add square roots, cube roots, exponential, and logarithm. Another person can just say, okay, all these ones is okay, fine. Let me take it higher. I want to be able to make sure that we can, on that same your name, Miriam's, Adeleke's calculator. Another person can just come and say, okay, if I'm trying to explain what open source means, another person can just say, okay, I want to make it bigger. I've seen people
Hi.
work on it. Walaikum salam. I've seen people work on it, right? And I want to make it higher to the extent that you want to be able to draw graph on that calculator. So that is what is called open source. And Python is an open source, which means the way this guy left it in 1989 is not the same again as at today. But because he was the one that started it, that's why they always give him that credit as regards the owner of Python. However, what he started is not what it is today. Like I said, Python is easy to read, it's easy to write, and it is easy to learn. Another thing that is very key also is Python is also a cross-platform. Cross-platform in the sense that it can work on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. I'm sure this might be new to you, but I need to tell you, it is cross-platform. Right? What it means is what? It can work on what? Windows, which I'm sure is what you are using. Windows operating system, OS. It can work on Mac OS, Macintosh OS, and it can work on Linux OS. So which means one code that you will write, that same code will run on Windows, it will run on Mac, and it will also run on Linux. So we don't need to say you want to write another code for Mac, you want to write another code for Linux. Do you understand? So that is why it is very good. Another reason why we can also we need to learn it. It has what? Simple syntax. Simple syntax. You will see all this syntax. So simple syntax. What do I mean by syntax? Syntax are just like ways of writing, right? Why do I say it has simple syntax? Because Nigeria is an English-speaking country. Everything in this Python is English-like. You will see English-like. Everything here is English-like. So if I'm talking, it's as if I'm writing just ordinary English. Compared to writing other programming language, that was why I said myself, just like myself. Hope you can hear me better. Can you hear me? Can you
Your
hear
voice is breaking.
me? Is it better now?
It's breaking. Yes, sir.
Okay, like I said, just like I said, is English like. You will see all these English words that you'll be using, simple English words. For example, we have prepositions, you have so many things that you'll be using, and you'll be like, oh, so what does it really mean, right? Like I was saying, most of us that started with a very big programming languages, right? We appreciate Python better because it's English-like compared to other programming language, right? And two, another reason why Python is very important is also because it is versatile. Versatile. It cut across all IT sector. Cut across all IT sector. So I can use it to do web application, web apps. I can use it to write desktop apps. Desktop apps are apps that we can install on our desktop, just like what I said you should install. Desktop apps, right? Games, you can use it to write games. You can use it to do data analysis, analytics. You can use it to do machine learning. You can use it to also do AI, right? We can use it for cyber security. Cyber security. It is very, very versatile. Very, very versatile. We can also use it for automation. Yes, automations. It is very, very versatile. So which means that once you learn this Python, the core aspect of Python, you can jump on any of these niche and start working on it, right? You can jump on any of these niche and start working on it. So in our class, our major focus is going to be web app, but we will try as much as possible to create at least one desktop app, right? We'll try as much as possible to create at least one desktop app just for us to see what Python can be used for. Very, very important. So in our class, we want to create at least one desktop app. Then our major focus is going to be web app. And why do we pick web app? Because this is what is basically in vogue right now. Once you can create a web application, most especially working as a back-end developer, it's going to be a very good plus for you elsewhere. So you can use that to start solving problems, right? Solving problems. You observe something that is happening. You can just look at your mom's business and see, oh, how can we improve my mom's business using web applications? How can I automate all these your transactions using a web app where once you do this, it does this. When you do that, it does that. You don't need to you don't need to start tracing about calculation again. Computer will do the calculation for you automatically and it will send it to your mail, or rather send it to so place and so place. All these things are very possible, right? So it is very, very, and the last thing is it has a very huge community. So what do I mean by community? Community is a set of people that is also doing the same thing that you are doing. So Python has a very large community, which means if you are stuck somewhere, you will see someone that will help you out, right? So maybe you are running into problems, you will always see someone that is helping you out, right? The last thing is, the question is going to be, how can we apply? Who are those people using Python? So I'm going to mention like four popular companies using Python for their web, especially in the web application area, in the web applications area. I'm going to mention like four different companies. So what are those companies? The first company that I know you can verify is Instagram. I'm sure many of us know Instagram. Instagram is using Python for their back end, right? YouTube, YouTube. I'm sure these are companies that you know, right? Netflix. You know all these companies now?
Yes, sir.
Aha. I'm sure you must have heard NASA before. Do you know NASA?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Ah.
sir.
Where is NASA? Where does NASA? Where does NASA?
They're related to like astronomy or something like that,
Oh,
sure.
makes sense, makes sense, right? So they use Python for space research, right? They use Python for space research. For Netflix, it is Python that is being used for recommendation. You know, when a new film pops up, right? Because they've seen what you've been doing, they've seen the type of movie you watch. That is why they can also recommend a new movie that tallies with the type of movie you watch. And with the help of Python, they were able to achieve that, right? Aha. So the last is Google. I've given you five now. Google also uses Python for what? For their backend, to do some things in the backend. So you can imagine these are companies. We've got more companies, but I just pick these most popular companies using Python for their day-to-day activity. Just for you to know that Python is very, very important, and I'm sure we can easily go get it done. Having said all this, I'm sure this is just like normal, proper introduction to Python, and I believe these are things that you would know or you would want to know, right? The next is just for us to go straight and start working with Python. And first off, is going to be a very crude way of working with Python. Crude way of working with Python. I would want you to open up your, let me clean up this. Can I clean up this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So first thing first, I will just have to open up my command prompt first. That's one of the crude way I do teach my students first thing, so we can now start graduating to where we really want to be. So how do I get to go to my command prompt? I will just come here. I can type CMD, right? If type CMD here, of course I have my command prompt here. I can do command prompt again. I can even press Windows R for run. Then I put CMD here. Any other way pops up. I can even right click on this particular start button. Then I can click on terminal. Terminal also brings in whatever thing I want to work with Python. So let me just go to the simplest part, talking about CMD, then press enter. So it pops up. This pops up. I'm sure you can see my screen. So let me make it bigger. You have a black screen, all right? So don't worry, don't be scared. I just want you to know that once you install Python, the first thing you need to install is to install Python IDE. I did not ask you to install Python IDE because I thought you said you've been working with Python all this while, all right? So if you have installed Python IDE before on your laptop, so we can just press Python, yeah? Once you press Python here and you press enter, this should show. Let me make it bigger. Can you see it? Can you see it's bigger, I think? It's better. So all these things will show. Sometimes Python might not work. Yours might be, let me just exit. Clear. So yours might be just press PY. If you press PY and press enter, the same thing will happen. But if nothing shows up, for example, if you type it and something like this shows up, I'm trying to explain all these things for you. Maybe let me just type something that is not here. Something like this might show up. So if you now say Python is not recognized, instead of PTTT, you tell me Python is not recognized as an internal or external command operatable, blah, 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 right? this might show up, right? If it shows up, the first thing you have to do is maybe, let me minimize this. Then you go to the browser, go to your browser, come to this place, press Python download. Apart from what I said, you should download, please, Python download. So once you do that, click on this first that comes into play, this first app that comes up, that pops up. So once you click on it, right, it will show and come here. So yours is just to come here and download. Just click on this syrup. Miriam, I'm sure are you following me? Are you there? Can you hear me? Hello? Okay, fine. So what I'm trying to tell you is you just come here and download this, right? Once this is downloaded, of course, I can bet, and you installed it, I can bet it you would have this installed, right? Very well. So once this is done and you press Python again or PY, if you press PY, this will pop up. When it pops up, then we can now start working on how to get this done. So all these things are very, very important, and I believe we can work with this. But our major, once we know this, once this is working, yes, we are sure that Python IDE has been installed on our system. Then the next thing is just for us to go through the code editor we want to use. So what do I mean by code editor? So what do I mean by a code editor? A code editor is perhaps a platform where we can write and edit our code, right? One where we can write and edit our code. So the first thing we'll be using, the code editor we'll be using, which I think I'll be recommending for us, is called PyCharm. It's called PyCharm. So how do I get to know PyCharm? So if you want to download it, I've sent it to your mail or to your WhatsApp. So you can just, I've given you the direct link to downloading PyCharm. So what you can do, simple, if you don't have that, just come here and do PyCharm. Can you see the spelling? Py, then charm, CHARM. Just click on click on Google, then click on this. But of course, you don't need to go through this particular route again. I've given you the direct link. Yours is just to come and download the direct link. Just go download the direct link, install it. And once you installed it, you can come to your apps, maybe here, your apps. Then you click or you type for PyCharm. Once it has been installed successfully, this is your PyCharm. Then we click on this, and this is what we're going to have. So, for example, assuming we don't have this kind of project here, maybe you have a new project. You have a new project, so we can just do PyCharm. See, this is what I want to show you. Yeah. This is what I want to show you. So you can see that everything would make sense, right? Everything here would make sense. And that's how it works. But if you are creating a new file, what we can just do is, I'm trying to see, just come to open or whatever thing you really want to do here. So this is a new file we're trying to create, right? So for example, assuming we don't have a new file, so we can come here and say we want to create a new project for ourselves. So everything here might have something like this. If it is new, you might have something like this. You can say want to create a new project. So if you are creating a new project, a pure Python class, so we can name it Python lessons. You can just name a Python lesson and we click on create. So we can have something like this, Python lesson, we click on create. So what we are having here is going to be very easy, right? It's going to be very easy. Once it has been installed, everything here is cool for ourselves, then we can now start working on our first project. So the first thing is going to be, I want to write our first Python program. We want to write our first Python program. So how do we do that? Right? So this is PyCharm. So let me quickly take you through on how to use PyCharm. This is PyCharm. So what it does, why do we use PyCharm? PyCharm is basically meant for Python programming. But we can use it for other programming language, but it's basically meant for Python programming, which means there are some other packages that has been installed in PyCharm, right? Compared to what I said, what we also want to use in VS Code or any other ones, right? The ones you are used to in school, maybe perhaps Anaconda or Jupyter Notebook, can also write these things, but it has a limited version. If you are working with some advanced work, of course, Jupyter Notebook will not be able to help us through that. And that's why I really quickly want to introduce us to PyCharm as early as possible. So this is the particular no code editor we'll be using for our discussion, for our programming, for anything we really want to do. Right. Once we've been able to create a new project, like I said, the next thing is just for us to come to this particular plus button that is here, click on it, then click on a Python file because it's a Python file. Then you name it. We have a file in a folder, right? We have a file in a folder called Python lesson. So we name our file here. I can just say our first Nakel class, first Python class. Let me put it that way. First, let me say first class. Let me put it that way, first class. Then press enter. Can you see? What we have here is blank, very blank, right? Very easy. So what is the first class? What's the first program we want to use? I'm going to introduce us to a first function, right? Don't worry. We're going to see how it works, how everything works better. But the first function I'm going to introduce us to is called a print function. So our first programming language is just for us to see how something works better, right? So which is what? Print function. So what is that print function? How do we write that? We just do print. Can you see? Once I do print, then because one thing about PyCharm is once you start writing some syntax or some keywords in Python, it gives us what? Intelligence, suggestions as regards what we want to write, right? Give us what? Intelligence. These are intelligence. You can see the drop down. The drop down here is called intelligence. So I'm going to use what? A print function. Then inside this print function, what do we have? We have what? Hello. We can just say welcome. Can just say welcome, Miriam. And Camila. Right? Aha, I got it right. Welcome, Miriam and Camila. So I think the spelling of my welcome is wrong. So I can just do it this way. Welcome, Miriam and Camila. Then if I do this, I can save my file. Once I save my file, I can now come here and do this play button. This is where we always play our class. So once I just play, you will see that here, another thing pops up here. Can you see? So this is the terminal. So print function prints into the terminal, otherwise called console, right? Print into the terminal, otherwise called console. So we have welcome Miriam and Camila. So this is our first program. I'm sure we would try this and see what is fun. So what is the print function? This print function is an inbuilt Python function that displays output on screen. It's an inbuilt Python functions. This prints. is an input Python functions that displays output on string, right? So this is the first things. So from there, right? From there, you can also try it out from your end. So the first exercise I'm going to give us in class is try and write a program that prints your name and your favorite subjects, right? Then first classwork, first classwork. Write, write a program that prints out your name, your favorite and your favorite subjects. Right? Write the first program that print out your name and your favorite project. So, what do you really want to do? Exactly what I've just done. Just do it that way. Print out your name and your favorite subject. Write it the way I've written it. Once you do that, you will also get the same answer. Do you get it? Once you do that, you will get the same answer.